price. Marketers, stakeholders knock federal government over modulation. Seek deregulation. Details you'll find on page 22. Someone says here boldly, why I won't join politics. Okay, that's coming from Joe, okay, Odunmaki. And you'll get to find out her reasons if you go to page 19. And the big headline here is still on coronavirus. It says, AIDS total war as FG seeks NAS approval for 500 billion naira intervention fund. Details of that you have on pages 3, 25 and 27. And we move down a little bit. We have Boko Haram. Yahaya takes charge as theater commander. One of the joiners here is as military fighters jet destroy ISWAP training ground in Borno. Still on COVID-19, we have confusion at UBT. As 2 cleared patients tested positive again. That's a sad one. And you have to read up more on that on page 25. And on a light note, we have, if God can give me husband in my 50s, there is hope for single ladies. Okay, who said that and why did she say that? You get to read up all of that if you go to page 13. But that's quite one. I like it when people, get happy stories for themselves. And that does it for me from Sunday Sun. We move on to Saturday Telegraph. Saturday Telegraph has quite a lot here. Today is Palm Sunday, by the way, and the Cardinal Okodia says something. Coronavirus outbreak, a blessing in disguise. Get to find out why he said that on page 4. On a side note, we have Enugu loses health commissioner. Defamation, tension as minister orders APC chieftain's arrest. We're ready to keep port operations running despite COVID. That's coming from stakeholders, and the details you'll have on page 16. And below the masthead, we have a big story, and it says, will now pay more attention to healthcare, says lawmakers, and a lot of other things below. It says the crisis has exposed evidence weakness of our healthcare system. That's coming from Bajabi Amila. And I'll devote more time to health issues, says Rep. Bagus. We didn't do enough when I was Senate President, Follering. And below that we have churches celebrate for the first time Palm Sunday without procession. Primate Ayodele. Government ignores my prophecy on pandemic, he added. Crisis now peculiar to APC, says Bankole Oluwajuna. All right, we have more on lockdown. Below that, we have COVID-19 lockdown, hell without electricity. That's coming from Lagos State residents. And I will take the final story on that. Federal government to set up 500 billion fund to fight coronavirus. Details you'll find on pages 3 and pages 5. And that does it for that. We move on to the Sunday Sporting Sun. A lot of not very good stories here, but people are sad. A lot of the football players are sad. But we'll go ahead and read what they have said. Osimhen admires Chelsea, page 2. Igalo. I want to stay at Man U, he says. I am bored without football action. I feel you. Sincerely, I feel you. And Chelsea in secret talks with Coutinho. Moving a little bit to my right, we have Inter may dump Moses for Chiesa. You read up more on that from page 2. Below that, we have Omero. laments COVID-19 frustration. I told you, a lot of people are not happy, but then we need to play our part. Details of that you have on page 2. I move down still. Mike Tyson tells Wilder to grow up. Why does he say that? Go to the back page and find out. And moving on to my left now. Man U plans Pogba delete swap deal. And 2021 AFCON qualifiers, FIFA postponed Nigeria Benin Republic June tie. Details you have on page 2. Let's go up a little bit to my right. We have Neymar agrees Barca move. And we go down on that. Ronaldo wants Real Madrid return. Ndidi, my style different from Kante. Kaka, Messi better than Ronaldo. And we'll take, that will be that for Sporting Sun. Weekend deal will just be rolling. A lot of people have actually expressed fear, a lot of people have actually expressed frustration. All that and more, I told you earlier, will be our thrust for today's edition on Weekend Deal. But before we get started and introducing our lovely, very beautiful, very intellectually minded ladies for today, let's go on a break.
Coronavirus is real. Steps to avoid this pandemic. Wash your hands regularly or sanitize your hands. Keep social and physical distancing. Avoid crowded places. Stay at home unless absolutely necessary. Don't touch your eyes, nose or mouth if your hands are not clean. Avoid the spread of coronavirus. Coronavirus is real.
Coronavirus, where the nickname na COVID-19. It not be big man who sickness, so if it catch anybody, according to World Health Organization, WHO, where then they call WHO, make I show you how the disease they take spread.
Oga travel go abroad, come back with symptoms of COVID-19 infection. As he land for airport, driver go carry and come house. His wife and pikin welcome am. Cook arrange food for Oga. Houseboy and housegirl pack Oga load enter house. Now so Oga begin spread this infection to we people. Driver go mechanic workshop, go spread them. Cook go open market to go buy 1 or 2 things. She go spread them too. Even house cleaner go back her house, go spread the same infection. Now so this coronavirus begin take style they spread from family to we country people.
So therefore, make we join hands, obey all the instructions where government and our medical people don't give us. So wash your hands with water and soap regularly, or use hand sanitizer. No go join body for where people gather plenty. Maintain social distancing. Above all, stay in a house as government don't advise. Stop unnecessary waka about. So make we not spread this virus.
Coronavirus. No be only big man like me they catch you. If it catch anybody, even poor man yourself fit to get them. So make we join hands together. Take stop with this deadly disease where they kill our people and they never get the cure.
Together, we go overcome if we do all the things where they tell us to do.
Shegun. Alpha, say tomorrow still day on.
What's your tomorrow?
Community meeting now.
You know they here, Abi?
Na beggy. See, if we meet for my house, inside parlor, then go no.
This COVID-19 is not a child's play.
If we want to elect a new secretary, we fit to
Do one for WhatsApp, or for Skype, or even on Zoom. Or we just wait.
I will not negotiate.
This social distancing, it is non-negotiable.
Not every infected person shows symptoms, but every infected person is contagious. Avoid large gatherings and self-isolate if you think you might have come in contact with a carrier. Your safety and the safety of others is in your hands.
This message is from the Akinfade Foundation in partnership with the National Orientation Agency with support from MacArthur Foundation.
Stay safe, stay at home. Lockdown is an order we must all obey. Now, when I was coming to work this morning, I noticed something along the road, the major roads. A lot of people were jogging. It's actually very commendable because it helps you not to get bored and then not to get extra fat while you're observing the lockdown. But also observe something. Some people were actually jogging in groups, and I think this is not very good because the more you work yourself up, the more you perspire, the more you excrete certain fluid that may not be good. So I think while you work out, keep your distances. Say what do they call it? Social distancing. Yeah, that's it. Some people actually do not know the meaning of that. The doctors and the experts that will come in later will come in to tell us more about all of this. But before we bring them in, I need you to look at something. Some people actually do not believe that COVID-19 is real. It is real. Some people have gone through it, they survived, some did not. Toby actually told her own story, and let's see it together. When we are done, we'll have the experts speak with us. Let's see.
UK-based Nigerian TV host Toby Akinbade has shared her horrific symptoms after surviving a coronavirus infection. According to Toby, a medical test she underwent for the virus turned out positive after being in contact with a confirmed case. She further revealed that she had a swollen gland, persistent cough, fever, and always felt tired thereafter. I survived coronavirus. Spent nearly 2 weeks indoors and in quarantine as my body fought it off. Yesterday, I took my first steps downstairs, headed straight to my garden and took a deep breath. I wasn't going to share this online, but I've been encouraged to share hope and good news. It may help someone. These were my symptoms. Day 1. I'd been informed that I was in contact with someone who had been in contact with someone with COVID-19. Nothing serious, I told myself, but I decided to social distance anyway. Later, I found out I'd been in direct contact with a confirmed case 5 days before. Day 2, I developed a very dry cough, and a swollen gland I developed 2 days before day 1 became very prominent. The cough was persistent, making speaking for longer than 40 seconds hard. I was extremely fatigued. I'm anemic and well acquainted with tiredness, but this was chronic. Day 3. A good night's sleep did not help. My chest was painfully tight. At first, I blamed work anxiety. I developed a fever. I was hot and cold at the same time. I struggled to walk and my breathing became shallow and difficult. The muscles in my neck began to ache. Day 4, the scariest day. I woke up feeling like I'd been run over by a truck in my sleep and then thrown off a cliff. The muscles in my face ached. The muscles in my eyes hurt. Every muscle hurt. My persistent cough became extremely painful. I developed a painful migraine, still with a fever and cough. On this day, I became frightful of how my body would force itself to sleep. My breathing was worrying and I feared the worst. I called NHS, who confirmed my suspicions and instructed me to self-isolate in my room as I don't live alone. Day 5. I slept a lot. Keeping my eyes open was painful and a chore. I wore sunglasses to use my phone. The sunlight made my migraine worse. My body ached and my breathing became worse. Coughing did not help. I could feel my lungs getting heavier. Every breath got shorter. Day 6. Painkillers did not stop the pain. Even my pharmacist could not help. I was scared to sleep as my breathing was not improving. I could not hold my breath for more than 2 seconds. Day 7. I became alarmed when I noticed I lost the ability to taste food. I nearly passed out brushing my teeth as it was obstructing my breathing. At this point, I was begging God. I did not want to die this way. Day 8. Twitter said that running a humid shower would help breathing. It did for me. I drew my curtains for the first time. I still needed sunglasses. Body aches stopped. The migraine was not so persistent. I coughed less, but it was a nauseous cough and brought up yellow phlegm from my lungs. Day 8. Still breathless from just sitting up. Sharp pains in my chest, but migraine is improved. My body temperature is back to normal. I coughed about twice a day. Day 9 to 12. I saw improvements slowly. I was able to hold my breath for 8 seconds now. Slept less, was able to work from home at times. Called NHS again due to a scare with breathing. I was unable to get medical assistance, but the problem solved itself. Day 13. I walked down the stairs for the first time. I thanked God and walked around my garden. I wasn't sure I'd remember what fresh air would feel like. I've lost several days of my life to this illness. Many others have lost their lives. You can do your part by staying at home. Stop joking around and take it seriously. I'm a healthy 28-year-old and it hit me hard. I'm grateful to have recovered, but I will continue to do my part.
That was the story of Toby, quite touching. But the good thing is she survived. And that's because she listened to instructions. One of the instructions is self-isolate, just like we've been told to get ourselves locked in our places, operate within certain circumference, which is your home, and then live a healthy life. I have joining me in the studio now, the ladies already told you they're all seated here. It's not going to be an interview, so to speak. It's going to be a conversation, and you see we are maintaining our social distances. All right, to my right here is Dr. Adeze Ora. She's an expert in public health. Nice to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, you feel well. Now they say you should always ask people
how you're feeling. Yes.
Because you care. Yes. And I know you're okay. And we have Ruth Dumade joining us. Ruth is also a health expert and a life coach. Nice to have you join us.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Okay. All right. A lot of people, somebody sent me something this morning, social media, and it was a bit funny. But then there was a lot of message to me. Actually, it was Suleiman that sent that to me this morning. Somebody was being interviewed, and the person was asked, what is quarantine? And he didn't know what it was. In fact, he gave it his own native language interpretation. He says, quara is cough, and tin is tea. So it means tea that you drink when you have cough.
Yes.
So, and...
to his understanding.
That's his understanding. Now, it got me thinking, when we say self-isolate, quarantine, what do we actually mean?
Okay, so quarantine is a technical term, and what it means is having an individual kept away for observation purposes, away from the general public. So the process of quarantine is and the quarantine period is usually stipulated based on the understanding of the period when an individual would have been infected with an organism, or in this case a virus, and when we expect that symptoms would have started to manifest. So usually that quarantine period is a period of observation when you're observing the individual for the onset of any symptoms or signs, and there may be tests also carried out within that period.
Okay, now we have also heard the word self-isolate. Does it mean the same thing?
Okay, so the difference here is that in the isolation period, you may not be tested.
Okay.
You are not being actively observed. But it's a guideline, it's an advisory. Keep away from the public.
Okay.
So the outward manifestations, if you like, of both are similar. It's just that in the quarantine period, the person is being actively observed by experts and being in contact with those who are monitoring the symptoms, the onset of any symptoms or signs, and possibly carrying out tests to confirm the presence of the infection.
And the other one is you're at home and you're the one doing the job yourself,
yes,
of monitoring yourself.
Yes.
Okay, interesting. Now, a lot of people, that's from the medical ground.
Yeah.
I know you're a life coach, and a lot of questions have actually come up around self-isolation. When people are doing self-isolation, what does it mean in their psyche?
Well, when people are self-isolating, it means a lot for a lot of people, especially as it relates to people's personality and temperament. There are some persons, naturally, they love self-isolating. They just love being indoors because they are introverted.
Not me.
Why there are some persons, they are extroverted. In fact, those people's self-isolation means is a big deal for them. So that is what people, for some persons, they take it calmly. Why for some other persons, they don't find it easy. However, because of the situation on ground, everyone now knows the importance, whether you are an extroverted person or introverted person. Because of your well-being, you just have to do it. Yeah.
That's interesting. Now, what are the possible things people can do, in self-isolation?
Yeah, there are a lot of things. In fact, if you go all through social media, you will see 1,001 things. You see, some persons just decide that this period is time for me to develop my capacity as it relates to academics. Some persons have not studied for a long time. So this period for some persons is, I can see several free online courses. So let me just use this opportunity to study. Why some persons, they've not rested in a long while. So some persons say, this period for me is ready. You wouldn't know how you need rest until situation comes. And some persons right now, they're just saying, is that why I've been very aggressive? Is that why I've been so sad? Right now, I'm so relaxed, I'm calm. Even some of us, our children, our family members, you have this good side because you are well rested. Why some other persons, they do the exercise thing, very important for our mental health. You just keep walking. Why self-isolating? Some persons just pick their phone to give a call to someone. Do you know there are some persons that their phone hardly rings? That alone is a challenge for some persons. But this period, phones are ringing.
Phones are ringing. More messages, really.
Yeah,
I get more messages.
Are dropping.
People have time.
Sometimes you're alone. You just feel, I'm alone in this world. But sometimes you just see message dropping, calls coming. In fact, some people are really enjoying the moment this period. But I hope this character continues.
And that's why, even if you listen to the WHO, there's a lot of emphasis on, okay, it's not really social distancing, but physical distancing, because we still have to emphasize that those social connections are important, and we still need to connect with others, make a call to somebody, find out how they're doing, send a message, I'm just checking up on you. Those are the kinds of things that we should emphasize now, so that even though people are physically distant, they still have that human social connection with others that helps with well-being.
This thing you're saying, a lot of times people think to connect. Some people are alarmists. The only message they send you is, this person has died. This person has done this. So what kind of messages should we be passing on to our friends, our family members as about now to cheer them up?
So the kinds of messages that we should be concentrating on are messages of love, messages of hope, messages that convey positivity.
Yeah.
So this is not the time. Already we are in an uncertain situation. There's a lot of fear around. So sending a message about fear, panic is not going to, in fact, it's going to make the situation worse. So what we need to do is emphasize the fact that we're all in this together. Send that message of love, of hope, of positivity, that we know that we're going to come out of this eventually stronger, better people. And you my sister Ruth here said, there are people who don't receive messages. And then just imagine the power of sending a positive message to that person. That already fuels the person, and that energy that comes from positivity also has beneficial effects on our immunity. So you then have people who are better able to even confront the virus in the event that they're infected.
Yeah.
That's the power of positive messaging.
You know, you actually made a good point there, because for one, when I am down, I don't like to mix up. Down by way of health, I don't like to mix up, because the more I talk, the more I get tired. So I always feel, okay, I should stay indoor. If I rest a day or two, I'll be good. But then, resting a day or two, I don't want calls. But I so much enjoy the text messages, the WhatsApp messages, the funny videos. I don't want to hear how many people are dying, how many people are hungry. I want to see happy people. And if I get those things coming, they have a way of, making the medicine I take actually work faster.
Yes.
So I think we should actually cash in more on that. But another thing I noticed, yesterday we opened our lines for people to share with us what they are doing for the lockdown period, and I still insist, you can send us your stories, what special activities you're doing during this lockdown period. But then I noticed a lot of Nigerians were sending us messages about hunger. And I thought I should tell them that we actually waste food. As about now, people went around, bought in bulk, stock up their homes. So there is extra milk, there's extra eba, there's extra soup. What can we do, Ma'am Ruth, to ensure that we don't waste food at this period?
Oh, in fact, I just hope this can work for some persons because of the power failure. Because some of us have bought things that are perishable. I remember when I was about stocking the house, I received a call from my mother-in-law. Make sure you don't buy things that are perishable. Buy dry things. Things like egusi. So she would just say, dry pepper. Make sure your meat is well fried. So these are the things, you see, as simple as those words were, they were wisdom. Because you cannot trust if there will be power or something may just happen to your transformer or something.
The NEPA has actually improved.
Yeah, they have actually improved.
They've actually improved.
Do you understand? So, this period, for you not to be wasteful, just fry and keep. Keep things dry. Don't get things that you know that with or without power, they can. And moreover, for us not to be wasteful, have your timing, your feeding timing planned. Because sometimes, because we are bored, we are idle, we just want to pick on this, pick on that, and sometimes we become very wasteful. At the end of the day, we just say, food has finished. I just got it which day. At the end of the day, you find out that you were actually wasting a lot of meal during the period because you were indoors. So much activity. Because in fact, I found out that staying even indoors, especially with children, is more expensive. Yeah, actually, it's more expensive.
Because they want to.
Every moment they
are you telling me?
Sometimes I ask them, did you swallow something?
And because they are playing and they are so active,
yeah.
So they're not outside in school or in the playground or wherever. So now all that energy is being expended in the home, and they need to replace it immediately. And children are impatient. This thing you said about timing is very interesting, because there's something called the 20-minute rule.
Yeah.
When you feel like snacking or eating something, just wait for 20 minutes. In that 20 minutes, maybe walk around, watch something maybe watch Weekend Deal, do something, and see if you're still feeling that hungry after 20 minutes.
Yeah.
The 20 minutes looks like 2 hours.
For some persons.
For some people, it will be like 2 hours. So within that 20 minutes, you've forgotten that you wanted to snack on something, then it wasn't really hungry.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right there. You're right there. Now, if we have overnight food, we've talked about Lassa fever. I need you to speak on that because a lot of people will cook extra now and leftovers. How do we ensure that number one is not wasted, number two is hygienically, preserved?
So depending on what the food is, we know the kinds of foods that we can leave out and the kinds of foods we need to keep in refrigeration. Just make sure that whatever food it is properly stored in terms of kept in a sealed container or in a tied sack. Because the important thing with protecting that food is ensuring that in the event that you have a visiting rat, it wouldn't get access to the food. But then if we're able to make sure that our environments are clean, we're not spreading food outside that would attract these rats into the home, then you really don't have anything to worry about. Because Lassa fever, the risk is increased when the environments are dirty and not hygienically kept. So that's another good thing with the season that we're in, because there's that emphasis on cleanliness, on hygiene, and those things do dissuade the attraction of the home to the rodents.
That's a good one. Speaking about the season, I actually admire this period because a lot of times families don't have time to bond. I need you to speak on family bonding about this time because a lot of mothers are working almost 12 hours and we don't get to groom our children the right way. What should fathers be doing about this point? I posted something earlier. I said this is time for mothers to look inward and train their children. And I stressed not just the girl child. Teach your boy child, teach your girl child how to cook. Because some bachelors now are crying because they can't cook. And I blame their moms.
Yeah.
Okay,
that reminds me. I just remember the story about in 1989 at somewhere around San Francisco. There was this earthquake that shook that region. That several bridges, buildings collapsed because of that earthquake. And they found out that most of those bridges weren't built according to the building code of that nation. So when the earthquake came, it broke down several systems and structures that is applicable to the home front. When certain structures are not put in place, when strains, stress, pressure comes, you will actually know how well or how unwell or unhealthy your family is. So this period for some persons that probably have missed it along the way due to activities, due to work pressure, due to family of origin, different things that have made some people lost sight of what they actually should be doing. This is a time for fathers and mothers to sit down. Parents, let's readjust our life. Let's replan and re-strategize. What have we been doing well? We take it down. What have we not been doing well? We take it down. What do we think we need this season going forward when life starts normal again? We take it down. Then we leave that and go to our children. You sit down with them. You negotiate this. At the age as they are growing, things change. Life cycle change. Don't think the rule that you had when they were 5 years old is going to be working. In fact, right now, some parents don't know that their children have actually grown. Seriously. Everybody is seeing that their children are growing. They are the ones not seeing their children are growing. So some parents right now, they are finding it difficult because they thought the rules of don't do this, is not working. We have to sit down and set the rule this time around. Definitely. Okay, the rules, the regulation, the reward. If you do this, this is what you get or this is what you lose. This is the period family should start putting such structure because you see, earthquake has blown. The system that you thought was holding your family because you were not always around is now showing that you have not really been doing so much. Now I want to still talk about some persons are single parents. Now a lot of single parents face a lot of castigation. Some people are single parents not because they choose to. Some of them is because life experience, bereavement. Some person unhealthy marital relationship, they couldn't cope. Some out of rape. I know some rape. They were raped and they were pregnant. They have the children. So most of them have had this life of working, let me be loved, let me be accepted, let me be approved by people. This is the time for such group of parents. They know they are lone parents. They have to do this thing. Talk to their children. This is the journey we have alone.
All right.
Everything you have to do, let's do it to be better together.
Definitely.
You are not having a father or a mother. This is the reason, especially when you know they are due for such conversation. This is when you start communicating. They understand.
Definitely.
They know.
Yes.
They know.
So no matter what you think, you are assuming that it's too early. They know. In fact, if you don't start talking to them now, the society will talk to them.
Definitely.
People will talk to them. So
Definitely.
it's high time we start taking and maximizing the opportunity we have to bond, to unlearn, learn, and relearn to go
All right, so
forward.
I remember the one of the newspaper captions we read this morning by the Cardinal Okoji. He said, this lockdown is actually, to a large extent, a blessing in disguise. I think in view of that, we call it the blessing for family to reunite and bond together. We will continue this discussion, but for now, let's take a break.
Where the nickname na COVID-19, it not be big man who sickness, so if it catch anybody, according to World Health Organization, WHO, where then they call WHO, make I show you how the disease they take spread.
Oga travel go abroad, come back with symptoms of COVID-19 infection. As he land for airport, driver go carry am come house. Him wife and pikin welcome am. Cook arrange food for Oga. Houseboy and housegirl pack Oga load enter house. Na so Oga begin spread this infection to him people. Driver go mechanic workshop, go spread am. Cook go open market to go buy one or two things. She go spread am too. Even house cleaner go back her house, go spread the same infection. Na so this coronavirus begin take style dey spread from family to we country people.
So therefore, make we join hands obey all the instructions wey government and our medical people don give us. Wash your hands with water and soap regularly, or use hand sanitizer. No go join body for where people gather plenty. Maintain social distancing. Above all, stay una house as government don advise. Stop unnecessary waka about, so make we no spread this virus.
Coronavirus. No be only big man like me they catch you. If it catch anybody, even poor man himself fit to get am. So, make we join hand together. Take stop with this deadly disease where they kill our people and they never get a cure.
Together, we go overcome if we do all the things wey dem tell us to do.
Before now, no visual impaired had graduated with a first class here. And most times, it's not because they are not that intelligent or hardworking, it's just because they lack basic amenities of studying. Being visually impaired, for every effort a sighted person puts in, you have to put at least double of it.
Right, it's still weekend deal, and my ladies are still seated with me. I know that Talatu Ezike is somewhere at the Pro Cathedral. When she's ready for us, we'll join her and take some questions. I told you earlier, it's Palm Sunday, and she'll be telling us what is happening there live. But for now, we will continue with our discussion. But some questions are coming in. Let's quickly take some, and this person didn't write his name. Okay, he says, good morning, ma'am and doctor. My name is Francis. I am 12 years old. I am concerned with social distancing. How can I measure the meters between myself and others? Doctor, let me leave it for you.
Okay, so when we say social distancing, or like I like to say physical...
I have a measurement tape here.
Physical,
in case.
Physical distancing. So we say it's about 2 meters, which is approximately 6 feet between you and the next person. So if we use this measuring tape as an example, 1.5 of this should be sufficient distance between you and the next person. Okay. Or for an individual who's 6 feet, imagine lying down. That gives you an approximation of that 6 feet between you and the next person. And there was something that was highlighted earlier. You're seeing people, because of this period, they're exercising, they're jogging, but they're jogging in groups or they're walking in groups 3 to 4. That is wrong because you're very close together. So if one of your co-exercisers is not symptomatic but has the infection, all of you can get it because you're quite close together. From the talking, the maybe any sneezing or anything, and any of the other 3 could have contact with the droplets that can cause infection. So that's why this physical distancing is important. So if we're looking at this tape now, 1.5 of it is sufficient distance between you and the next person in any gatherings or in any public place.
All right, so doctor just explained that if you have this kind of tape, this is the regular tape in our homes, the measurement tape. If you have it, if you measure 1.5, automatically you've actually acquired the kind of distance you need between you and a person if you want to stay off from the person if he has it, and of course if you two want to avoid, dashing somebody. All right, good morning to all of you. Sir, I am told the virus is not a living organism. Please explain the difference between virus and bacterial. Thank you. That's from Aliyu in Maiduguri, Borno State. Doctor, I guess I'll leave that for you.
Okay, so there are different categories of infective organisms. Now, the virus it's actually a living organism. It's not a non-living organism. It's just that it has a limit to how long it can stay viable or living outside of a host. For the bacterial organisms, they tend to stay longer. And that's why the mechanisms through which they are treated are different. Because the treatments for bacterial organisms, which are the antibiotics that you know, are not generally effective against viruses because they have a different physical structure, they have a different life cycle. So the virus is different in terms of how long it stays and how its physical structure is. So that's the difference between the virus and the bacteria, and that's why you say, oh, if you give antibiotics with a viral infection, it's not going to work because those particular physical structures that the bacteria has, that the antibiotic works on, the virus doesn't have them. And then the virus relies on getting and attaching to structures within the human body or the host body, which could be an animal, and then using the structure of that host to then further grow and further affect the functioning of the body. So the virus actually needs the cells of the body to continue to be able to function.
That's interesting. Now let me take this to Ruth. My name is Musa Lasisi. We are to keep social distance. That's a good one. Please advise me, given a family of 5 children under the same roof, how do we do that? We have to make that brief so we can join the mass.
Okay, yes. Social distance within your family. I'm sure for the past 5-7 days you've been alone. You've been indoors with your family. There is nothing that has been happening. It is only when you know that this your family member either was not in the country, either has been living carelessly despite all information, so you can start applying. But when you're at home with your family together, let's do a social and physical distance together and make it fun. Because when you're at home, except you know that this person has been at risk, then you can apply the social distancing while you're indoor.
You know what you're saying now. Each time I go out, I still come to work anyway. Once I'm coming in, as I park my door, my children get the disinfectant wipes.
Yeah.
And wipe my door handle, wipe
because
everything.
you are trees. You've been going out.
So, and the worst part is they won't even let me. As I'm coming out, they are carrying the spray as well. They're like, "Mommy, wait, we're going to have to spray you."
That's it.
They give me water. They give me everything. I wash my hand before I go into the house. But I think Talatu is almost ready for us. If I can see Talatu, we told you earlier that we will be going to the Pro Cathedral for the Mass, the Palm Sunday Mass by the Catholic Bishop of Bayo.
Okay. Yes, thank you very much, studio. We're here at the Catholic Pro Cathedral Area 3, where the Archbishop of Abuja, Most Reverend Ignatius Kagama, will be celebrating the Palm Sunday without the congregation. This is in obedience with government directives that all should observe the lockdown, where worshippers will not converge on any worship center. I have with me the Catholic Director of Communication, Reverend Patrick Alumuku, to share more light on this. Yes, Father, if this Mass, if not for this COVID-19 restriction, Most Reverend Ignatius Kagama today would have been celebrating his first Mass, his first Easter Mass, that's the Palm Sunday. Tell us, Abe.
Yes, this would have been the very first Mass of the new Archbishop of Abuja at Easter in this cathedral church. But today, because of the COVID-19, there are only a few people here, mainly the journalists and the priests who will be celebrating at this Holy Mass. This is a very significant celebration in the life of the church each year when we recall the suffering, the death, and the resurrection of Jesus Christ. And usually the church will be full. Every single Christian wants to be part and parcel of this Palm Sunday celebration. But here we are. We thank God. We thank God for those who are at home and who are watching us. And I do hope that they will join us in this spiritual communion.
Yes, thank you very much, Father Alumuku. You heard, Father Alumuku, that this church would have been full if not for the restriction. And if I would tell you, a day like today, the Palm Sunday, is where you're going to see the worshippers turn out different kind of crosses. But today, because of the restriction, everybody's at home and they will be praying, telling God, Almighty God, like I will say, forgive us our sins, take away this plague from us and guide us right and strengthen us, lead us and our leaders right. I will hand over to you now in the studio because the Catholic Church has a rule. 8 is for 8. This Mass will start now. Thank you, studio.
Talatu, I wish you still hang around to take one or two questions from me. I was just wondering if you can still talk to the priest, but then we can't see you. So we'll quickly move in to take more of the questions. Now, people will know the importance of saving for the rainy days. That's from Carol in Warri. Thank you very much. He said people should have been learning to save money. And what do you think Nigerians could do to eradicate the issue of money? Especially we that are working, I wish people can learn to abbreviate less so we can quickly read their messages. Someone says here, good morning, doctor. My question is this. Is it true that coronavirus no catch somebody who has group O? I think his blood group O. Yes, it means to say.
No. The coronavirus has no limitations whatsoever on who is going to infect in terms of blood group, race, genotype, socioeconomic status,
gender,
marital status,
gender,
and gender.
I've heard that women are not as allergic as men.
No. So that may have even a reason because there was a study done in South Korea on infected cases in South Korea, and they discovered that the women were not having as severe and critical illness as the men. But then when they went further down to find out why, they saw that there was a higher proportion of men who were smokers, and therefore who were higher at risk than the women. So it wasn't because they were women. It was because they were less likely to have been long-time smokers and therefore have risk of lung conditions that would have further worsened their status, having been infected with the coronavirus. So it wasn't because they were female or because they were male. It was down to risk.
That's good to know. Lifestyle is very important here. Ruth, now, at the time when HIV broke out, we had a lot of problem with stigmatization.
Yeah.
And I see it beginning to raise head now, the ugly head. How do we get to, Nigeria has discharged 25? That's good news. And I know that by the end of today, we'll have more because that's what I dream for. How do we begin to, assimilate these people in our society without stigmatization?
Wow. Stigmatization is a big deal, especially when it comes to this. This morning before I came here, I watched an elderly woman in the US. She's 90 years and she was able to conquer, and she was a survivor of this virus. I saw her family hugging her, pecking her. They were all over her as at age 90. Now I would want to beg every Nigerian and everyone that is hearing us right now, let us learn how to love on people despite their history. Let's try to love on people despite their stories. Let's try to love on people despite their affliction or pain. Let's try to just love on people genuinely, because it's in that love you see some people that have gone through the trauma of the crisis itself.
Yes.
Can stand strong, because going through the virus infection is as hard as the trauma itself too. One is the physical one, another is the psychological one. So what we need to do for people is just to love on them. Show them love, show them kindness, no matter when. And I'm sure probably some people are saying, they say they've discharged a lot of people. Where are they? Who are they? I'm sure these are
scared
probably,
of coming out.
Yeah, probably
They're
the
scared of
issues
coming
why
out.
people don't want to come out because of stigmatization. Oh, this person that, you're not clean. Oh, do you understand? And people have enough to deal with to not add that to their pressure. I'm sure some of the persons that might have gone through that have survived, probably when they're emotionally healed and psychologically healed and mentally healed, they'll be able to share their stories for people to now know how to handle them better. Yeah.
Which is also why in the West, when you see people like Prince Charles, people like Boris Johnson, the actor Idris Elba, Tom Hanks and the wife, when they come out to say we tested positive, it's not just that they just want to announce that they tested positive. There's an underlying message. They're sending a message to the general public that look at us who are influencers, who are role models in society, but we have been infected, which means anybody can be infected. And that sends a message that if people who are being looked up to can't get this infection, that means anybody can get it. And so we, like you said, it's important that we have that empathy, that realization that this is something that can happen to any one of us, and therefore show love and show that kindness.
Right, show that kindness, and I take that as a keyword while we move down to Benin or Benue to find out what your situation is with COVID-19.
COVID-19 pandemic, which came like a thief in the night, has been felt all over the world, with so many countries affected, including Nigeria. Benue State has also recorded an index case, which has led to proactive measures taken to curb the spread.
The fumigation of markets is ongoing in Makurdi, and from Makurdi, the team is going to other towns of the state, like Boko, Otupo, and the other towns. This is in line with the directive, the advice by the World Health Organization that governments at all levels should take proper care to see that the environment is hygienic.
In line with precautionary measures to avoid the spread of the virus, the state government has issued restrictions in movement, closed down markets, suspension of religious and social gatherings, and also use of hand sanitizers. How is this being adhered to?
Actually, I'm just coming out for the first time since the policy started. I have sanitizers in my home, my children we used, and I should think we are trying our best.
It's a very good thing, and we are happy because this thing, you don't know, the sickness doesn't know big man, it doesn't know poor man. You can contact it from anybody. So that is why government say we should stay at home.
I've been staying at home, washing my hands as usual if I'm supposed to wash. But I don't frequently do it.
I went to the bank now. It's like people are not observing it. People are still clustering together, struggling to enter into the bank. So I don't think it's being observed. The sanitizer, even the bank I went, there was nothing like that. There was no sanitizer, no hand wash. But me, I practice it in my own house.
Okada, we do carry passenger. And now if you go out to carry passenger, there's no passenger. So we don't have money to buy sanitizer. The little we have is to stay at home and eat. But you see, government should try at least provide one or two things for us.
I think the government policy is very, very important. And I advise that everybody should take it as part of him.
For now, the virus is here. Government has played its part, but we have our own part to play. Remember, our health is in our hands. It is our responsibility to contribute towards its safety. After all, we only have one life to live. Stay safe.
Okay, so we only have one life to live, and if you want to enjoy it, which I think everybody should, you must keep to rules and regulations by the law, by the health, by everybody around you, and that way we live a longer life. And we've had amazing ladies with us today. We still have more in stock, but let me quickly thank Dr. Adeze, a family physician and my senior colleague. So, and I also thank Ruth Dumade, a family clinician and mind coach, a lot of things put together. It's been quite interesting having you on the set. Yeah. Thank you very much. And with that, we'll take a break. When we come back, we have still to come a psychiatrist who will be talking about the psychological effects, and we also have the DG of NTA who will also be telling us more on this. Let's go on a break now.
Coronavirus is real. Steps to avoid this pandemic. Wash your hands regularly or sanitize your hands. Keep social and physical distancing. Avoid crowded places. Stay at home unless absolutely necessary. Don't touch your eyes, nose or mouth if your hands are not clean. Avoid the spread of coronavirus. Coronavirus is real.
Coronavirus, where the nickname na COVID-19, it not be big man who sickness, so if it catch anybody, according to World Health Organization, WHO, where then they call WHO, make I show you how the disease they take spread.
Oga travel go abroad, come back with symptoms of COVID-19 infection. As he land for airport, driver go carry and come house. His wife and pikin welcome am. Cook arrange food for Oga. Houseboy and housegirl pack Oga load enter house. Na so Oga begin spread this infection to him people. Driver go mechanic workshop, go spread am. Cook go open market to go buy one or two things. She go spread am too. Even house cleaner go back her house, go spread the same infection. Now so this coronavirus begin take style dey spread from family to we country people.
So therefore, make we join hands obey all the instructions wey government and our medical people don give us. So wash your hands with water and soap regularly or use hand sanitizer. No go join body for where people gather plenty. Maintain social distancing. Above all, stay una house as government don advise. Stop unnecessary waka about. So make we not spread this virus.
Coronavirus. No be only big man like me dey catch o. If it catch anybody, even poor man himself fit get am. So, make we join hand together. Take stop with this deadly disease where they kill our people and they never get a cure.
Together, we go overcome if we do all the things wey dem tell us to do.
Slavery is an evil practice abolished all over the world over 200 years ago. But today, human traffickers are selling human beings as slaves in Africa. It is your responsibility to make sure that you and the people you know do not fall into slavery. Don't believe fake promises of jobs abroad.
People wey talk say Libya, Italy no use you when they carry me on top water. 4 days now they lock me for inside house, no food, no water. I nearly die. Now God when me heaven and earth now save me. If you get 1 naira for Nigeria, you get junior one, you say you no get papa, you no get mama, that make you come out. I beg go they do farm work. You better pass person wey enter road.
Don't accept to travel to Europe through